Yes, everybody, welcome back to Football United TV. I am joined today by special guest, the Absolute Football Podcast Show. So here's the intro, though. Yes, people, welcome back to the Introduce Yourself show. I'm joined by Charlotte, Josh, Lucas, and Sam of the Absolute Podcast. How you guys doing?
Beautiful.
Good.
Great.
Beautiful. Love to hear that. See that exaggeration there. Absolute beautiful. Okay. So basically we're going to kickstart so everybody knows what you do and what you're about. But we want to start from the beginning of football and how you got into it. We start with you, Charlotte. I know we've asked you before, and I apologize that you're going to have to do it again. But everybody is interested, all right? They are interested. They want to know. Kickstart, Charlotte.
Yeah, so I'm a Rochdale fan, as a lot of people may know. Not the greatest team, but I love them. It all started because of my dad, so I blame him for my torture. Yeah, just went with him from when I was younger. Been a season ticket holder ever since, and yeah, never looked back.
So you're blaming Dad for that then, yeah?
Blaming Dad. Blaming Dad.
It's a good thing, though. He's got you into a club, and look where it's taken you as well. It's brilliant. Absolutely phenomenal. I want to ask Josh, tell us, mate, who do you support and how did you get into football as well?
Well, I support Liverpool. I'm from the Welsh Valleys, where we don't really have a local team. It was Newport County, technically, but when I was younger, I'm not giving away my age, but when I was younger, they weren't really the team that anybody sort of knew existed. So in the Valley, it was a tough... No, that's North Wales, that's in the bad part, but we're down. No, it's not. It's not a bad part. There's no bad part. But down in South Wales, it was a toss-up between United and Liverpool, is what most people supported. And Liverpool had Ian Rush, who's of course a Welsh legend, and that swayed it for me. Sometimes during the 90s, I debated if I made the right decision, because that was not very nice. But no, I stuck through it and persevered. And nice. The last couple of years has been nice, but I love it. Long suffering, 31 years of supporting now.
There you go. That's a trooper, mate. That's hardcore. That's a hardcore fan there. How about you, Lucas, mate? Where did it all begin? Who's your team?
I'm an Arsenal fan. Don't believe the Spurs fan rumors. Don't believe you may hear some of these.
You'd have been like, I don't want to tell him.
But I started, funnily enough, I came from, my older brother was Liverpool. My mum claimed to be a United fan at the time, but that's a complete lie. And I know it now that I'm older. My dad was an Arsenal fan, but always said he supported Coventry, which was weird. And I wanted to be a Chelsea fan. But my brother made me watch Arsenal DVDs over and over again when I was a kid until he convinced me to become an Arsenal fan.
Who was one of those players in the DVDs that?
This was like Ian Wright, Bergkamp when he just joined. This was like back then, yes. So like the first player I can remember watching and being like, oh, he's pretty good. It was probably Bergkamp or Ian Wright. It's hard to tell, hard to remember.
Yeah, look, I'm a United fan, and I remember them both like fully the brilliant players. What about you, Sam, mate? Last but not least.
I'm a Manchester United fan, so yeah, I was there to haunt both Josh's and Lucas's dreams when they were younger in the 90s. Not so much now, but yeah, still they remember the nightmares. No, I'm a Manchester United fan through my dad. My dad was a big United fan, and I was on the VHS was the videos that I saw. So Brian Robson and Mark Hughes and Eric Cantona, those kind of days. That was what got me in. I got in just before the golden period, shall we say? But Manchester United all over for me.
Yeah, I bet them VHS videos were full-length videos because that's how good we were. You didn't need highlights. You could watch the whole 90 minutes and it'd be like a proper movie.
It was like Le Mans, 24 hours, just on a rolling tape. Yeah, absolutely. We still watch them now because it's better than what's the current football's like. So.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to talk too much about United at the moment. I mean, look, I know people saying because of the new manager, it looks like we're going to be getting there, but I still think it's going to take a very long time. So what, guys, got you into making content? It's a brilliant podcast. I think I said this to you backstage as well, like a proper fan of it. I can only see it going places. I think 1K at least by the end of next season, at least. And I think you probably get there well before that. Shoot off, Josh, right? You wanted to start off with this, like how it all began and how you all got together and found each other. And yeah, what's in store for us all when we come and watch?
Well, I mean, the start of it originally, so I did a podcast with Jono that you had on previously with the RTL. So we sort of worked together on that. And over the course of 40-something odd episodes, we were always looking for guests to have. And Lucas and Sam, we create Football Manager content. And so I actually hooked up with Sam on a private, on an individual program that we had. If you remember, he did special commentary for one of my Wales games, Welsh games that I had. Very special commentary. So I invited him on. He didn't go on camera. He didn't do any camera content. He was just an animated duck with a fake voice. I didn't even know he had a real voice. So.
You found your wing, didn't you?
I did. I fled the pond. Yeah.
So I brought Sam on, obviously, and then when we were looking for people to come on, I mean, we found Lucas. Lucas does a lot of Twitch streaming, and he does some really good stuff there. And then I'll be honest with you, Charlotte was sort of like a bit of a long shot. I saw her Dale Way podcast being advertised out there. And obviously, I mean, she does an awful lot. She's really active in the community. And I thought, wouldn't that be wonderful if we could get somebody like that to come on? And she did. And bizarrely, she enjoyed it and wanted to come on. So we started doing stuff together on the RTL. But then I decided I wanted to step out, do something on my own, something a little bit different from what we were doing. I didn't want to be a football podcast for Football Manager or content creators. We wanted to be a legitimate football podcast for football fans, real fans. I think, you know, with Sam and I especially, we have a bit of a quirky sense of humor, and Charlotte's just brilliant, and Lucas is superb. He's a great orator. So when I left and started up, I wanted to bring these guys with me because we have such a good relationship. We got on really well, and all of them have great individual skills and the stuff that they could bring. I thought we could really do something special, and that's why why they decided and agreed to join me is something I'm not entirely sure, but I'm genuinely really lucky and so proud and privileged that they all agreed to join me and create content on this journey together.
Well, you just hosted for me because that's the exact question I'm going to ask everybody: why they did and how you feel about it, guys. So let's start with you, Charlotte. Then.
Yep. How did it all begin? Yeah, to be honest, when he appeared as a guest, I really enjoyed it. We're on a couple of times on the RTL. And when obviously I was asked to join this, I was really humbled because I thought that's really like good, and just to be part of a team as well, and people like want me on, and especially these guys, because as much as we're on the podcast together, it's great fun. And even in like our chats and everything, we have such a laugh, and they're all so supportive. And likewise, we just support each other in everything we do. And it was absolutely brilliant. I was just so humbled that I was asked to come on. I really am enjoying it.
There you go. That's brilliant. What about you, Sam? Same thing as well, mate? Like everybody said as well, that the fact that you were just the behind the scenes guy and now you've taken that step forward as well. You enjoying it? And
yeah, 100%, I think. And so it was the kind of the steps that Josh and I had done the funny video a long time ago. I remember we'd say we were watching each other's Football Manager content. It's fair to say the stuff we were doing in the early days was very quirky, very kind of out there. No one else. It was very kind of sarcastic commentary. And I think we both appreciated kind of almost a bit the stupidity of some of the things we were doing and thought, let's mash up and see how that works. And then through that, just kind of continue kind of chatting. I did an episode of the RTL, loved it, and then was really pleased to be asked to do that full time. And I've just had so much fun since. And so when Josh had sort of come up with the idea of the Absolute Football podcast, working with these guys has been phenomenal, taking it to another level. And we just, as Shah says, we just have so much fun, just on the pod, off the pod. The chat's great, and football, and we talk about football, and there's always content and issues and things with football to talk about. So yeah, I absolutely adore it, and I'm very happy we're all working together.
I love like the old controversial talks as well. We did one about David Beckham and his involvement in the Qatar World Cup the other day, and it's it was different because I don't really script everything I do. I just literally go from the heart and just literally give you what I feel and absorb everything that I hear, and then sort of give my own intake on it, instead of how people Post-it note everything down and they have everything completely scripted. And I kind of want to break that barrier, because for my mental health as well, it's good to be able to just do that, because then you feel more about yourself. You're like, oh my God, I didn't believe I knew what I knew. I
love that. I do the same.
I'm like, Jesus, I'm all right, actually. You know what I mean?
I know things. I really know things. Yeah.
I always put myself down, and I'm all right. Lucas, what about you, mate? What was how did you get involved into it, mate? And what are you feeling about it, mate? Because you're an Arsenal fan as well. You must be very happy on the podcast at the moment. You're the one
perfect time to be on the podcast.
Too happy.
Yeah. Perfect time to talk about football at the moment, isn't it? If we start dropping off, I might, be a bit busy on Mondays moving forward. But it was so obviously I know Josh through Football Manager, and Ducks had probably come across a few times actually on Twitter, probably in the Football Manager sphere. It's quite a large but small community in a weird way, isn't it? Football Manager, everyone kind of knows or have heard of everyone. And I was invited on to do Road to Legend. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed that chat, and then popping in each other's streams and things like that. And then Josh told me about the podcast, and I joined, and just to see how it would go. And then as the guys have mentioned, it's been really good, in terms of the chemistry. Everyone bounces off each other really well. And, I can talk about football for hours on end. Football and films are two things I can talk about for days on end. So it's really nice to have a team to be able to do that, and no pressure behind it. And also it's something that everyone's passionate about. Everyone has different interests, of course with Charlotte with her game too, and also the lower league things as well. So I think it's a nice little group, and long may it continue, because I'm really having a good time on it.
That's brilliant as well. Do you do movie reviews too anywhere at all? You say you love movies so much?
Kind of. I have a letterbox account, which is
You're someone big somewhere else will realize you've got
I'm a massive critic at the Oscars and everything. No, but I have a neat little recommended watch I do every week, and a channel on the Discord where we talk about films and stuff. It's a big passion of mine. So I don't know if I'd explore it in one avenue, but yeah, I am a big movie buff, and you'll catch some of my hatred towards some of the latest Marvel films on Twitter and things like that here and then.
Favorite football movie before we move on? I've got to ask you that one, Lucas. If you like movies and football, mash them
Shaolin
together.
Soccer. It's got to be Shaolin Soccer.
Did, didn't it? When it came out, I was like, oh my God, it looks real. I wish I could play like that.
It's always goal is obviously the obvious one, which everyone loves, but Bend It Like Beckham is a hidden gem for sure. But I'd probably go, I think Bend It Like Beckham is probably the best one in terms of actually being a good film and well written. But yeah, Shaolin Soccer is just a load of fun.
Which is the one with the England manager? Mike Bassett.
Mike Bassett.
England manager. Yeah, that's a good one as well.
I like. I've only seen clips of that. I can't find the full movie anywhere, and I'm not paying for it.
Oh, mate.
That's a Football Manager dream movie.
1, 2, 3 movies. You'll find anything on there. Shaolin Soccer, to be precise.
100%. Yeah,
definitely on there. Okay, let's move on. Actually, no, we won't. We will move on, kind of, but we've got to go and say hello to everybody in the comments, because you guys are important. Smash the share, like, subscribe if you can. The Fugler King is in the house. You got this. Thank you so much for coming by. I love that name. Sam, hey dude, big up to you. Big G, oi peeps, big up to you, Big G. Sexfine.pro, my favorite photo here.
Appreciate the support.
I love these. Thanks for the contribution, whoever you are. Talk MU, evening all. Let's just go back to that one. I think we can talk
Josh, get out the chat. Come on.
Just click it though.
Big G, you don't look at that old for VHS, Sam.
The baby face survives. It was a pain in my teens, and now the baby face is everything to me.
Talk about evening tennis, Sam.
Yeah, in the dark. Yeah,
playing tennis in the dark. Lovely. Big G, how do talk, lad? Hi G says talk. Big G, no watch along tonight. Next, Barry Norman, Matt Bassett. Big up, mate. Evening all. And he says, big up everyone on the show and in the chat. So the next topic, and then we can just go off on one if you want to. We can freestyle whatever you want. But your favorite player of all time. Difficult, I know, for some people. I'm pretty sure, Lucas, I might have a thought of who yours might be, seeing as you got him in the background. But I might be wrong. Charlotte, start with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with one from a Dale perspective, but then I'm gonna go with one just in general.
Good
So
shout.
my Rochdale one's Grant Holt. I know he's familiar to people who do watch Premier League as well. He was at Norwich for a while, but he was my favourite. Great striker for us, and yeah, he'd have to be the one from Dale because obviously we had him, and to have a player like that at that level was just brilliant. And of all time. Oh, this is a hard one.
Mason,
do you know what? It's going to be really random, but I do really love a defender, and I just used to love how passionate and how into it Nemanja Vidic used to get. So I'm going to go with Nemanja Vidic. I did have a bit of a soft spot for him. I do like Nemanja Vidic.
It's a good name as well, isn't it? Nemanja Vidic. What a name!
He was like Serbian.
Yeah, like a player like that, you don't really see a defender like that as passionate and as into the game. And he was just always up for it. And no matter what, he'd just always get his head on it and like proper try. He was a grafter. So I'm going to go with Nemanja Vidic.
Nemanja Vidic, they love him in Serbia. I remember I was in Belgrade and I was getting a cab to the airport. And this guy, the taxi driver, was saying like the Man United chant. He comes from Serbia.
Yeah. Nemanja. Didn't quite work with Matic the same, did it?
No, I said though, yeah, Nemanja Matic. He was like, yeah. Didn't really care about him. Josh, what about you, mate? Who's your favourite player of all time? You can split it into two categories, like Charlotte, if you want to. That's all good.
I mean, it's a little bit cliche. If you watch the podcast, you'll probably pick this up straight away, but not for necessarily his skill and his playing ability. But I love Steven Gerrard. I would give my body to him if he needed it. If he needed a kidney or something,
wow.
or you know, if he wanted to explore some certain aspect, I'm there for him. But I mean, what I loved most about Gerrard is he encompassed everything about the team, his spirit, his work ethic, and his dedication. I mean, in fairness, that guy really sacrificed his career and what it could have been because of his love and support for the team and the memories that he gave me as a fan. I mean, the FA Cup, the Champions League, and just the spirit, the whole way that he conducted and carried the team, just everything about him as a player for the team player, and what he gave us. He's like my favorite of all time as a footballer, and I just love him dearly. And if I could have a womb, I'd have his children. But in regard to like a footballer, if I wanted to watch a footballer play, it'd be somebody more like if I could go back in time, Pele. I watched some of Pele's best clips on YouTube for some content I was creating, and just wow. I mean, the pitches were shit. The players hacked him to pieces, and he was just amazing, absolutely amazing.
What was you saying just before that? Who was your player?
Pele, Stevie G or Pele.
Stevie G. Do you know what he said his worst experience was as a footballer? Can you guess?
When he was going to leave after the Champions League. And people were burning his shirt outside his house and threatening to kill his wife and kids. I imagine that can't have been very good.
I think he meant as playing football, like not off the field. But it was a slip. It was a slip.
Yeah. And that's not his fault. I mean, he was too old really at that stage. To be fair, what is he?
To be fair, if he had stayed on for another couple of years, Klopp would have come and he would have got the title. He should have done a James Milner.
He could have done a James Milner.
Milner. Just
do you know what? I know
Millie.
What a utility player. He's amazing. Unbelievable. We said on the pod the other week, didn't we? The fact he's still playing football at the standard he is mind blowing. He should just be like a mascot on the side, but he's still tearing it up. What a hero.
I can't believe Akim Fenwar's going into wrestling now. Have you heard about that?
Really?
Yeah.
What a legend for the league.
That's brilliant.
If he comes out of the Royal Rumble, I'm going to lose it.
I imagine.
Brilliant. Lucas, what about you, mate? Your favourite player of all time?
It is, this guy behind me. Of course it is. Ronaldinho. I always say Ronaldinho is, I would say Thierry Henry is the reason I really fell in love with Arsenal when I was like, this is my team. I will support them for the rest of my life. But Ronaldinho from about the mid 2000s, I always remember the goal against Chelsea after that. And I just was obsessed with watching Barcelona. Even some of the Milan games I used to watch just for Ronaldinho, because just the stuff he did with the football was, and he was having fun. That's what I really loved about it. It looked like he was enjoying himself. You know, he wasn't under pressure. He didn't even train. He just turned up and he was like, yep, I'm going to play. And that was it. But, you know, all the partying meant he only really had 2-3 years at his peak, which is a shame because we missed out on, in my opinion, the most talented footballer I've ever seen. So 100% it's Ronaldinho. Henry's obviously my Arsenal legend. And then I will cheat a little bit here, but I have always got a soft spot. The guys know it's for Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil is one of my favorite players, 1000%. I just appreciate players who have a very sort of world-class first touch and hold the ball very well. And then the passing, some of the passes that he did for Arsenal, Real Madrid, just the vision was elite.
How can you not love Lallana then? You must love Lallana then.
He's next, Josh. Top 5.
His first touch, that little turn that he does, where he takes it and spins. It's sexy.
I don't see him doing that for Brighton, though.
Yeah, this is true.
He'll do his hip in, won't he?
I think, Ronaldinho was an exceptional player. I remember him, and then Messi coming on the scene, and he could still school him, really. I think I've seen a video where he was at a training school with Messi when Messi was really young and he was kicking it about, and Messi was like looking up at him like, oh my God, I want to be like you. And he even
he's like a clone, isn't he?
Yeah, mate.
That's the thing with Messi. I never put Messi in the thing, but I think Messi wins a lot because he did it for, since he burst into the scene till now, he's still doing
that,
it.
and the low sense of gravity, and the fact that he's smaller and you don't expect him to be able to get round players as he does. I mean, Ronaldinho was a bit more like trickery. But Messi's actually got that. He's got that physicality as well about him. You've seen him like shrug off players. I think he scored that goal that sort of resembles the Maradona goal, and he was like, you thought, what's going on? They were like trying to get it off him, and he was like, nope, I'm holding it. I'm standing on the ball. Absolutely brilliant player. Ronaldinho as well. He was like, he's had a crazy life, hasn't he? Going into jail as well and winning that cup in jail. Did you hear about that?
I did.
He was a captain of the team, wasn't he?
Yeah. I'm just going to bring you guys up to date. Nunez has just scored for Liverpool against West Ham.
No! Oh, God. This Salah's not going to do anything again, isn't he? We've all captained him and he's going to do absolutely nothing.
No bad news on the show, Josh. No bad news. Sam, what about you, mate? Your favourite player of all time?
Well, outside of Eric Jemba, the one that was so good they named him twice. Probably. So I think there's so much to choose from in that United era that's very difficult to go for. I'd have to say, in terms of United, I love Paul Scholes. Just the intelligence of that man, the positions he took up, the late runs into the box, some phenomenal, the volley goals he scored, the one against Barcelona. He just made them tick, and even with a dirty tackle or two, which did at times kind of was required, particularly in the Champions League with some of that refereeing in the 90s. Jesus, I mean, you needed a Scholes tackle to liven some things up. He had that great partnership with Keane. I loved that. Scholes is probably the one I would go to. It's tough. I don't know how you feel as a United fan. Ryan Giggs was up there as well, but for obvious reasons at the minute, I've sort of dropped. He's not in the conversation. So I stick with Scholes. Cristiano Ronaldo did some things I'd never believe I would see in the Premier League in those early years. some of those free kicks, some of those skills, ridiculous. And outside of United, probably the best player I ever saw live actually was Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry, spatial awareness. I saw him down at Southampton, and he was just you just watch somebody and you think they are head and shoulders above everybody on this pitch. Just insane, with the ball, without the ball. Scored a phenomenal goal that day as well. So yeah, even though he was at that time the arch rival Arsenal in the challenge, Thierry Henry was the problem. You couldn't help but admire it. So yeah, Henry fantastic to see live, but Paul Scholes is my go-to.
Yeah, a lot of Irish fans probably won't like Thierry Henry, will they? That's,
No.
that's one thing.
You can always tell how good a player is by that.
Huh?
I was just gonna say by the fact that even in the heat of that rivalry between Arsenal and Man United, I had friends who supported Man United, and they would openly say Thierry Henry was their favorite player in the world, and he played for their literally harshest rivals. That's how good he was.
That is crazy. There isn't probably anyone at Man United that you go, yeah,
Oh, Bruno, definitely.
Cantona, would you say like someone like him maybe gets near to that?
In that conversation, I think.
Dennis Irwin. You can't not love Dennis Irwin. Dennis Irwin has love everywhere. He was the James Milner of that era. You just have to respect Dennis Irwin.
Rooney,
I love that he always had a red nose and red cheeks. He looked really cute on the ball, like he just didn't look like he was going to play football. He looked like he was going to do a bit of gardening, but he's an absolute, you know what I mean? He doesn't look like a football player. Like Harry Kane doesn't really look like a football player. Have you ever heard that? I don't know.
I've heard that, yeah.
I just don't think he does. As soon as someone said it to me, I was like, he doesn't look like a football player, does he? I don't know if that's really bad or not, but, you kind of look at it and you kind of think, how do they do that? These players are brilliant. Do you think, like, money's getting out of control with football these days as well? Do you think it's ruining the game?
100%. It's for me, I get on a really big high horse about it. I think it's entirely immoral. It's absolutely disgusting. Nobody needs to earn the money that they're earning. I think I can, in regard to celebrity and the size of football's impact across the world, I can get on board with someone earning 125, 150 pound a week. It's too much, but I can get on board with that. As soon as you get 200,000+ pound a week, even with Salah at Liverpool, I was really hoping we were going to take a stand and not sign his contract. And I think if Mane had stayed, we may have done potentially, but it's horrible. It's too much money, and it's creating something that is unsustainable. So the differentials between teams at the top and teams at the bottom are just massive. And if you look at, I was going to say you look at Germany. Don't look at Germany right now because that's a really bad example. But typically you've got one or two teams at the top, and the others just cannot compete. And especially in the Premier League now, as a league, we've got too much money that no other teams can compete. And I think it's just destroying football globally. There's just far too much money, and especially I think the only benefit from it really that I can see is surely footballers pay like a tax in the country. Yeah. So I think Haaland's, in theory, should be contributing about £400,000 a week in tax. In theory, if we saw some of that, that'd be really nice. But no, I think I don't know what the others think. Well, I just think it's horrible. It really sickens me.
You kind of sounded just like Jurgen Klopp, didn't you? In few days. Sorry, Sam.
It's too much, and it's just you look at it versus what's going on in the country at the minute, cost of living and everything else. It just makes you even kind of more sick of those levels. And I'm sure, like Charlotte would say, like it's just not just being distributed down the leagues. It's all being kept at the top, and it's just creating a bigger divide, a bigger gap. And it's ironic that we're all on our horse about the Super League, about we don't want that. We want the competition, we want everything up, but that's exactly what money's doing. Is it's just setting those teams apart that makes it difficult. Unless you have a massive foreign investor or effectively a country comes in and buys your club, you're not going to win the Premier League now unless you're one of those established sides. So it's kind of, I support Man United, hope we can get back there one day. We've still got enough of the funds to do it, but you can sort of see the big picture and say this is not right. This isn't really what it should be about.
And it sort of breeds a character trait into footballers that isn't right, because they have to be isolated to a degree, but they're isolated with all of this funds and resources that you can see it a lot at the moment where behavior is not as it should be. for footballers, because it's just they don't live in the same world. They've got completely different priorities, surrounded by entirely different people. And if you go back to like Nottingham Forest under Brian Clough, if you read about the fact that the players would walk to the stadium, they'd be on the trains and the buses and stuff with the fans, and you had that sort of interaction, that more ownership, and that the footballers were just normal people, and they just got up the stuff that normal people did. But now it's entirely different. I think that's unhealthy, because they're young guys as well, with all of that money, all of this resource, and I think potentially could be impacting them. Well, it's impacting them as people, for those who are not quite got that self-control.
Anybody else, Charlotte? You got anything to say on that? Because obviously you're a Rochdale fan, so that it's different from supporting a Premier League club to Rochdale. It's quite a struggle for Rochdale to keep afloat, isn't it? Like pretty much every other club in the Football League and non-leagues, etc. Grassroots.
Yeah, of course. It infuriates me a little bit, because obviously, with us in particular, we're fan owned, so we have to kind of bring players on from our academies, or we're the kind of club that if someone's career's at a standstill, they'll come to Rochdale and we will take them to that next level, like your Craig Dawson's. We've had Glenn Murray, Ricky Lambert, Grant Holt, but we're the kind of club that has to sell players each season to survive. So obviously we've got that. We're quite lucky in that aspect that we're fan owned, so obviously we are quite safe as a club, kind of thing. But you look at like your Berries, who have gone out of business now. Macclesfield nearly went there. And for these teams to obviously struggle and they're not a team anymore, they've had to obviously go right back down to the bottom and start up. It's not nice to see, but also from my point of view as well, it does infuriate me, but at the same time, it infuriates me more, because then you've got obviously the Salfords, who obviously they've got, and your Wrexhams, where big names have obviously gone into that. But what infuriates me more about the Salford thing is just Gary Neville, and he had this opinion about obviously the Super League.
Gary Neville just annoys me.
Oh, honestly, the Super League and all this money, and he's all like, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well, he was like, oh, let's get behind Ollie and stuff. But he's sacking managers left, right, and centre at Salford. He's putting that much money into Salford and stuff like that. I just don't like.
Charlotte, we know he's a hypocrite. I've just done a show about him and Beckham the other week,
honestly,
talking what they talk about, and he's just signed for beIN Sports to be a commentator.
Exactly.
For the state-owned channel.
It drives me mad. Drives me mad, honestly. But yeah, it is quite infuriating. But as Josh was saying as well about the footballers as well, and obviously there is a lot with egos now, and obviously it's all down to money. But what infuriates me more is you've got someone like Marcus Rashford, who's trying to put some good into the world, and he's trying to help the world and the country. And he's one of the most hated footballers, and he's the one who gets the most hate on social media. And I don't get that, because you've got someone like him trying to make changes, and with his platform obviously trying to help, but then you've got other footballers, I won't name names, who obviously are going down the wrong path, who are like obviously getting these massive egos. But I just don't understand why Marcus Rashford, when he's trying to like do some good in the world, is getting so much hate. That really does infuriate me.
It does. And there's I don't know if he still plays for Rangers, Morelos.
Yes.
So he does like the work that he does for his, I think he's from Colombia or Ecuador, one or the other. And the amount of work he does for his village, because it's like a poor area, and he sends like pretty much all of his money back home to support everybody. And he lives like a real quiet lifestyle, doesn't have like big ass cars and all that. He literally is humble about the position that he's in, and it's only Rangers. Do you know what I mean? Imagine if he was at the top and what he'd be able to do. But
course.
So much for the way he is in the media, Charlotte, that people don't realise the work that he's doing off the field is tiresome for him.
Yeah, I think Sadio Mane was the same. I'm sure he were helping contribute to hospitals and building hospitals, obviously where he's from. And it's like stuff like that. These players are doing that, and obviously, like I said, Marcus Rashford, but is one of the most hated people on social media, and the amount of trolling and stuff he gets is just ridiculous for someone who's trying to like do something right and use his platform in a right way for people and being a role model.
I think
Just the way-
Rashford's thing is the, from what I've seen, is the, because again, I have massive respect for him for what he's done, because it hits close to home, the situation with Scotland is to a lot of people who've grown up in the UK. And I think his situation, the team around him and the PR that they put out around his performances rubs Man United fans. Because there's always the same thing when you ask Man United fans. They always, you know, they call him names and they say stuff about it, but it's always very much about football. Apart from, but outside of that, a lot of people are like, yeah, we love Marcus Rashford. We'd love him to be the face of the club, but his performances don't necessarily reflect that situation.
And I think, and part of the problem is that they bigged him up that he was going to be this amazing player. He was never going to be that. He's not that good. I mean, I think that's the problem he's got. So they're looking for a stick to beat him with, you know, because they couldn't possibly have been wrong about what his ability is. So it
Josh,
Josh,
he scored that penalty against PSG, and then everyone put him above Mbappe just because he scored the penalty.
Like, it's unnecessary pressure, and when you got to remember, he's only 24 now. He's a young guy, and having all of that and being, it's a lot to put. They do, you know, you see in similar things with Saka at Arsenal, and hopefully they take care of him there, because they're kids. But I think that's a good point around Mane and building schools and things. Because I mentioned Mesut Ozil before. He's another one who he's paid for thousands of kids' surgery and building hospitals and schools across the world. And I think you have a responsibility, if you're earning that level of money, to give back, because then you can make the case that saying, if you took that 150 grand and split it across, you know, 150 people, would they collectively build a school? No. But this person is. So this person is entitled to that much, because on top of the entertainment that they provide and the memories and the moments that people remember, they are also contributing more than anyone would who would collectively earn that money. But that's why I think Josh's point around 150, you know, is a level where it's like, these guys should be earning millionaires, because we're on a podcast because of them. You know, we're here because of these footballers and talking about them. But there's a level where you go, okay, 150 grand, and then you go, Mbappe, 300 million. You can fire the manager whenever you want, you know, 21 years old, and there you go, into the biggest club in the country. Here you go. You know,
my only thing with you talk about people contributing to this society, the only player I can think of is El Hadj Diouf. Does an awful lot for his community. I don't think I could like him, though.
No, not a likable person at all. No.
That's community service, wasn't it?
Yeah, different kind of community service. He's got to give, but out of his own time, not out of his own pocket. So maybe just for the last, actually, what I should do, because I keep forgetting, ladies and gentlemen, is some comments. So Big G says, Paul Ginger Ninja Skulls, old idol from the Italian 90 World Cup, Salvatore Schilacci. I hope I said that well. Schilacci. Big G, love it, pimping yourself out there. What was that about? What was that about?
It was Josh's. Wait, you're in the hotel, aren't you, Josh? Why are you in a hotel? What's going on? Stevie G,
maybe. That's why you're talking about him all the time. That's why you're wearing your Liverpool shirt as well. Steve Franks, 100%. Carl, agree. FMFO. Football has just become a way to hide money and tax dodge. The Quaker morals and philanthropy is a dying ideology, unfortunately. Rusty Shackelford, I can't believe that Noodles has scored. Big G, Mane does the same. What do you guys think of the World Cup? Just to finish it off, because we are going to finish in about 5-10 minutes, but the World Cup coming up, England as well. Who do you think is going to be winning this World Cup this year? It clearly isn't going to be England.
No, not with Southgate in charge.
Not at all. It's not going to be Wales either, Josh, before you get excited.
I know.
Yeah, go on, Josh. I want to hear your thoughts, because this is probably the first time in your life that you have seen this. Well, it's got to be, isn't it? It is. Wales have never been to a World Cup in your lifetime, I can guarantee.
Have they not? It's only Euros, right?
Yeah, not 60-odd years, yeah. Josh isn't that old.
No, I look it. Do you know what? There's a joke I make, but my watching, so I'm not going to make it about and the reasons why. But to be honest with you, what I think what I like is the passion that Wales have, and the players represent that. I think that's a big difference when I'm watching England play, and I don't mean to be like derogatory about it, but if you watch the interaction between the fans and the players and the spirit and the mentality. There's such a togetherness and a desire that they are reflecting, because we're a small country. We got, I think it's 3.2 million people. I think Birmingham has about 2 and a bit, if not 3 million. So Birmingham and London together, there's more people than Wales. If you put that, I think we are in regards to number, I'm pretty sure we're the smallest nation in the World Cup in regards to the number of people living there. If we're not the smallest, we're definitely the second bar one. So the fact that we're there and we're able to generate enough good players to get us there, it's just really exciting. I'm so proud that the guys managed to get themselves there. I mean, and that, you know, like Gareth Bale he kills himself for Will, because he's not allowed to play. He wasn't allowed to play for Real Madrid for reasons, despite being one of the most influential players in the key matches over his period there. He just wasn't allowed to play, and but he always gives everything. He like kills himself playing for Wales, quite literally, like blows his hamstrings out and stuff. And I'm just really excited. I think we can get out of the group as well.
Loose, doesn't it?
I think we're getting out of the group. I really do, and that's all I want.
Yeah, what are you feeling about having like England in the group? It's a bit crazy, isn't it? Yeah, it does. I don't like it as well. Like, I just don't like it. I think if you want to face a team, you don't want to be facing someone who's right next door to you, who hasn't been in the competition for many years, who are literally going to be fighting. I know what happened in the Euros as well. It was 2-1, wasn't it? Right at the end. So it was a close game. Bale scored the first goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
You got it right at the death. I mean, don't get me wrong. It'll be really nice when we knock you guys out. So that'll be lovely.
But you're doing the podcast on your own that week.
It would have been good to get some different teams, just because it always feels like we're playing the same people all the time. And so it would have been nice to get into a new competition and actually play different. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would have been heartbroken if we were in with like Brazil or Argentina. That would have been quite devastating. But at least we're in a group I think we stand a chance of getting out of. But yeah, it would have been nicer not to be with England. But it is what the thing is. My wife and my daughter are English, and my son's Welsh. So that's going to be really interesting in the house that day, I tell you.
Like, you're going to have to make up a split shirt, aren't you, of both nations?
Oh, I can't do that. That's terrible.
Dragon versus the lion on the same shirt.
I know. Well, who's going to win that fight? Let's be fair. You've all seen Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I don't know. The lion from Narnia is pretty strong, so it depends which lion we're talking about.
Within the year, you're like that. You're not even getting us. You can pull away. We'll just fucking fly away.
If only If only it was that easy, Josh. If only it was that easy. Charlotte, who do you think like is going to be an unexpected team to make it in the World Cup? If you thought, I'm saying Brazil are looking like a team that people don't realize are coming back from like a 10-year hiatus of not being so great and getting knocked out. But any national teams that you think, they're looking good?
Anyone but us?
Yeah, I'm playing. Like, I don't think England are looking as good as they were in the Euros. Like, I think Germany are coming back strong as well. Spain,
definitely decent.
Germany are good. I can see them maybe winning it, or Brazil or Argentina. I don't know what you think.
I think it's, for me personally, I say Brazil or Argentina, 100%. I think they're definites, 100%.
Got a great team, Brazil, haven't they, Lucas?
As
you know, you got your striker there, and I've got my winger there.
I've got his nephew in there as well, isn't it? Rafinha. But I think Brazil are probably the favourites when you look. Well, Argentina are probably the favourites just because they haven't lost in like 35 games. So it's one of those two. But I think we will see. I think Senegal are a dark horse. I think they look very good. They look very good in the AFCON, and they've got some good players in that team. Mane again will be there, and hopefully, it just depends what Mane turns up, because if he's there and rallies the troops, there'll be a problem. But they got a tricky group. That's probably about it. But I just have a feeling a couple of teams will be. I've got a bad feeling about Iran as well for some reason in that group. I just got.
Are Uruguay in there?
Yeah,
they are. Yeah,
they're
like another one who you never know.
Yeah,
it's a strange one. You know what? I always would have thought Colombia as well, but they didn't actually make it.
They didn't qualify. Yeah.
I'm just quite surprised because they are really good. And you see
really
who's at Liverpool recently. It's not just him, but they've got a really good youthful structure. But maybe next time round in Canada, Mexico, I think they'll probably be a very good team. Switzerland, surprisingly, as well for me.
Switzerland and Canada's another one who you never know. Could they're another one potentially, but I think something. Germany and Spain. You know, I think the problem with Germany and Spain is they haven't got strikers. I think that's going to really hurt them. I mean, Germany are starting Werner and Havertz. Like, let's be honest, that's not going to get you very far. And Spain are starting Morata.
They've got Muller, I guess, but then Muller's gone off, hasn't he? He's not really the same player.
He's about 68 as well, isn't he?
You must remember the last time Wales played in the World Cup, John. We'll have to ask him. Bam.
For me, I mean, I've been doing a few sort of World Cup videos on my channel trying to kind of get built up to it. I'm only on Group C, so there's plenty of good sides I haven't got to yet. But the one that sort of surprised me when I was going through the Dutch, having not made the Euros, they've kind of been sort of out it. There's a lot of players playing in their first tournament for that. Van Dijk being one of those, and Van Gaal's unbeaten since he's come back as well. So, and he's just batshit crazy these days. So it's just going to be entertaining. So I think that, say, Netherlands and Senegal being in the same group is tough. If they both get out, then that's a horrible looking for who's left in Group B, which, if we're talking England and Wales, not a great last 16, to be fair. Brazil just, but the South American sides are really strong again. Argentina had both Brazil and Argentina unbeaten in that section. And as you said earlier, Colombia, Ecuador, teams like that, Uruguay, to be unbeaten in the South American qualifying where you play everybody is pretty strong. So, and I think with it being over in Asia, it probably suits them a little better. But you've got the X factor, haven't you? It's at Christmas. It's the middle of the season. No one knows what the hell's going on. We'll be eating mince pies and watching football, and it could be one of the most bonkers World Cups we've ever seen. Yeah, so I'm all for a Senegal Saudi Arabia final. Why not?
Let's go. That would be incredible.
No, but we all want to see Portugal, Argentina, don't we? We want to see Ronaldo, Messi. Fair, their last tournament together. Like this is it, and it can happen as well.
I can't wait for Messi then to lose and to get really upset, and for Ronaldo
I
to
love
win
that.
and
Just
upset.
Just
all them deluded Messi fans are going to be really upset.
Right, brilliant. Well, look, guys, we'll end it off there. I'll just shout out a few more here. From Big G Football has just become a way to. Oh, I've done that. I'm so sorry. I can't believe that I've done that one as well. Damn you, Josh and Lucas boys, you have it bang on. And Jordan, big up Jordan from Jamaica, mate. Thank you for tuning in. Saying, Matt, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a brilliant show. Really enjoyed it. Glad to hear everything about you, how you got into football and your podcasts. If you can let everybody know where they can find you and where they can come check out the Absolute Football Podcast. Starting with you, Charlotte. Thank you so much for coming on once again.
Yeah, you can find me. I'm most active on Twitter, but I'm on Instagram, YouTube, and I'm on not Twitch. I'm on TikTok as well as SharXRESC.
Brilliant. Thank you, Charlotte. Josh, thank you, mate, for coming on. Solo. Just wanted to see the hotel room before you left.
I won't show it all off. There you go. Look at that. Sultry silk sheets. So I'm on all the socials: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. It's FMFO official. Where I do primarily Football Manager content, but I'm also do a bit of variety gaming, scary horror games where I crap my pants quite an exceedingly large number of times. But the podcast is so we stream 8 p.m. live on Mondays on YouTube and Twitch currently, and it's the Absolute Football Podcast on both formats. And you can follow us on Twitter, which is at Absolute Ball Pod, because Absolute Football Podcast is too big for Twitter. But check out the Instagram as well. We're very active on Instagram. There's a lot of good work that goes there, and that is the Absolute Football Podcast.
Thank you so much, Josh, mate.
That's it. I'm done.
Passing on the mic to Lucas.
Ronaldinho's biggest fan. You can find me Crab Dribble on Twitch. I stream mainly Football Manager content, but I do add some variety elements. I'm doing FIFA at the moment, Assassin's Creed, sometimes some horror games. We'll see whatever I fancy at the time. And I'm also active on Twitter, Crab Dribble _ at the end, because someone already has that account, but they're not active and Twitter won't give it to me. So yeah, I need the blue tick before I can get it.
What? Damn them! That's just rubbish.
Yeah, it's a John Doe account, just an egg with like one tweet 10 years ago, and I'm like, can I have this account? And Twitter were like, no.
You know what? My channel was taken up by. It was called Football United TV, but it was all Pepper the Pig. Sure. So they disguised it. And I was like, what on earth is this? It's all Pepper the Pig, like shorts and videos. And I was like, oh God, well, they're going to give me that. And they did. So thank the Lord. Sam, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. I had a great time. You can catch me as Up the FM Ducks is my name on Twitter, on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel. As I said, I'm doing World Cup videos, team by team previews at the moment, up until the big show. Some FM content coming up soon, and I've got my own website as well, www.upthefmducks.com, with football shirt reviews, football shirt analysis, anything sort of football or what I'm feeling. So Up the FM Ducks, more or less everywhere. Maybe Twitch one day. Maybe I'll join Josh and we'll have a scary duo Resident Evil session or something.
Sounds like a challenge. You up for it?
I don't think you'd enjoy it. I don't enjoy it. It's terrifying.
Just be the two of us crying down the microphone for an hour.
It's bad. I can't do it. It is a grown man just being terrified and screaming like a small child for like an hour.
Big G says, can't believe none of you mentioned France, by the way. I'm so sorry, Big G. But yeah, they just never seem to win it. They never seem to get over that. Well, actually, they did. They won the Euros. Actually, they won the World Cup. Sorry, what am I on about? Take that back. See, sometimes you don't know everything, or you forget. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Smash the like, share, subscribe, and go and check out the Absolute Football Podcast. Please go do that right now if you can. Type it in; it won't hurt. Use them index fingers, make them work, and we will see you tomorrow for United Across the Globe. Paddy's back. Ricky's back, and everybody else. So come tune in. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.